UFC Fight Night Vancouver just went down. Brendan Allen just beat Reinier de Ridder in the main event. What a crazy fight card. I usually have low expectations for Canadian cards, especially fight nights. But this was one of them cards where it was a bloody war. There was a knockout, there was a submission. People were going toe to toe every single fight. So I'm going to break down every single big fight, starting with the featured prelim all the way to the main event. So let's start with the first one. Kyle Prepelic versus Drew Dober. Man, what a war. What a war. Right when I turned on the screen, I was like, holy shit. These guys were throwing down right away. I know these guys were both coming off losses, but Kyle Prepelic was confident as hell. He was chopping Drew Dober's leg. They were going shin to shin. Prepelic was throwing so many inside leg kicks, all types of leg kicks, and he busted up Drew Dober's shin. I mean, there was a fucking huge gash on Drew Dober's shin. It was bloody, it was leaking through. I know that hurt like hell. And Drew Dober just completely forgot about it, and he was throwing caution to the wind. You would not even know Drew Dober lost his last fight. He was throwing with power. He was throwing powerful loopy hooks that went around the guard of Kyle Prepelic. But Kyle Prepelic was using his range. He was landing hands as well. He was pushing Drew Dober back. But Drew Dober would push forward and throw those powerful loopy hooks. And they would wrap around the guard. Drew Dober clearly had more power in this fight. And he was definitely looking for the knockout every fucking round. I mean, every fucking round. But the craziest part of this fight is Kyle Prepelic's winning. And then Drew Dober kicks him in the groin. Horrible nut shot. I mean, a bad one. Kyle Prepelic took a minute to get back. More than a minute. He took a fat minute to recover from that. And that was the momentum shift of the fight. Kyle Prepelic's clearly in pain. This is not a fake groin strike. There might have been a fake groin strike in the co-main event of this card. We'll get to that later. But Kyle Prepelic got kicked in the dick. Hard. So he's recovering. And he finally recovers. He gets back into the fight. But he can't get back into the fight. There's a momentum shift. And yes, they did take a point away from Drew Dober. They took a point from him. This groin shot happened in round 3, I believe. And they took a point, which I think they should. This is a whole nother topic, but real quick. I think they should take a point for a groin strike or eye poke, accident or not. I don't care if the opponent's blind. If you kick someone in the dick or poke their eyeball, point taken immediately. They take a point from Drew Dober round 3, but Drew Dober's like, oh shit, I'm going to kill him. It was either that. Drew Dober went for broke, and he was pissed that he got a point taken away. Or Kyle Prepelic just couldn't recover from that momentum shift, from that groin strike. That must have hurt bad. It was probably a combo of the two, because Drew Dober, when the fight resumes, starts throwing haymakers, he's throwing bombs, and he knocks out Kyle Prepelic. He puts him against the fence. He starts throwing like crazy. Like he's got Prepelic back against the cage. And Drew Dober's just going to work. He's going to town. And he drops Prepelic with a nasty uppercut. A nasty uppercut. And right before that uppercut landed, the uppercut was the final shot. But he landed a devastating knee right before that. Woo! Third round knockout. Alright? Third round knockout is what I turned the TV onto. And by the way, the earlier prelims were fire. But I'm breaking down the biggest fights, okay? The biggest fights. So, congrats to Drew Dober, but don't kick people in the dick anymore, alright? Let's try a little more, alright? Oh shit, I don't want to cover Kyle. Let's try a little better next time with the kicks. And we're going to get into the groin strikes, trust me. Wait till you hear about the co-main event. Alright, moving on. Kyle Nelson versus Matt Frivola. More controversy. You thought that dick kick was controversial. Wait till we get into this fight. Man. So Kyle Nelson, looking like Sean Strickland. I mean, is that not Sean Strickland? Is that not Sean Strickland? Anyway, he's got the mustache, the bald hair. Him and Frivola are going at it. Tit for tat. This is a scrap. They're punching each other. They're kicking each other knees, elbows. all the rest of it. It's getting crazy in this fight. It's getting fucking crazy, man. But Kyle Nelson's doing his thing. He's doing his thing. But Frevola is getting takedowns. They're using explosiveness. I mean, they're going all in. They're trying to get the finish. It's clear. It's clear as fucking day. But Kyle Nelson's doing his thing, and you can kind of tell Frevola's getting gassed out. And the whole momentum shifts, right? Kyle Nelson drops Frevola. He fucking drops him. He drops his ass, and he follows up with ground and pound. Like it's the end of round 2. And Nelson is going crazy with the ground and pound. He's elbowing Frevola in the face. I mean, there's still time left on the clock, but we're nearing the end of the round here. And man, the ref's just watching it happen. I'm thinking, all right, the ref's going to run in here late just to make sure it's an official finish, right? We don't want to hear about an early stoppage. So the ref's taking his time to stop the fight. All this ground and pound is landing. Tons of ground and pound. But guess what? The round stops, so I think the fight's over. I'm like, man, what a brutal ground and pound finish for Kyle Nelson. The mini Sean Strickland lookalike. I'm like, man, that was brutal. And that took a second for the ref to stop it. But thank God he did. Turns out the fight's still going on. He only stopped it because that was the end of the round. He didn't even wave it off. I thought he waved it off. I'm going to have to rewatch that shit. But Frevola got dropped in a close fight. He got dropped. And the ground and pound is what finished him. He got finished. His eyes were rolling to the back of his skull. I know that. But the round ended because, the time was up. But at the same time, the dude got knocked out. Frevola was TKO'd on the ground from ground and pound. I believe it was round 2. But guess what? The ref has money on Matt Frevola or some shit. Because he said, continue. He let him into the next round. Are you fucking crazy? Are you fucking crazy? I gotta rewatch that fight. I was screaming. I was like, damn, this is a violent fight. So, Matt Frevola is allowed back in the fight. And he's picking up where he left off. He's throwing spinning heel kicks. He's throwing spinning heel kicks and landing them on Kyle Nelson. You can only imagine the adrenaline dump from Nelson, right? You think you won the fight and it's over, but then the ref says, no, get back in there, it's not finished. Michael Bisping versus Anderson Silva type shit, right? But guess what? Shout out to the mini Sean Strickland, Kyle Nelson, because even though Matt Frevola came back strong, Nelson held through and he won a decision, but he got robbed of a finish bonus. He could have got a performance bonus. That knockout was his. They took a knockout away from his resume. They let Frevola continue, and Kyle Nelson had to fight with an adrenaline dump and still pulled through. He still won. So shout out to Nelson. He is the true winner, no fucking doubt. I mean, round 2 should have been a finish, or whatever round that Frevola got knocked out in. His eyes were rolling to the back of his skull. And the ref clearly had money on Frevola. They let him go. But guess what, ref? He still lost, all right? And you still lost your parlay. So, shout out Kyle Nelson. But we're not giving a shout out. What's his name? Is it Steve? The bald ref. What the fuck's his name? Oh my God. I'm drawing a blank. Is it Mergliata? Is it Dan Mergliata? What the fuck's his name? The bald ref. What the fuck's his name? Whatever. I think it's Mergliata, right? Not Steve. Dan Mergliata, if I had to guess. He really fucked up tonight. Really fucked up. But yeah, this was the most controversial moment of the whole night, by the way. We're going to get to the co-main event controversy. Because Kevin Holland, I mean, he looked like shit. And he might have been making excuses. But in my opinion, not stopping the fight as Matt Frevola is knocked out is the most controversial opinion. That's the most controversial moment of the whole night. It's not an opinion. He got knocked out. So I don't know what Mergliata was seeing. Dan Mergliata, that's his fucking name. What were you looking at, bro? I know what he was looking at. His fucking parlay. He was looking at the money he had on Frevola. Okay, anyway. This has to be performance of the night right here. Charles Jourdain versus Davy Grant. Charles Jourdain, the Canadian. Did I just say Jourdain? Jourdain. He might just call himself Charles Jordan tonight because, man, he was the MVP. So this is a one-round fight. We got 29-year-old Jourdain and we got 39-year-old Davy Grant, right? I have a feeling Davy Grant's going to lose. I swear, but here we go. They're starting to fight. I think Davy Grant's looking for some leg kicks. Well, guess what? Guess what everything that Davy Grant threw got countered by? A flying knee. Like right off the bat, Jourdain looks for that jumping flying knee. And he's so close. He almost gets it. But Davy Grant gets caught rushing in a second time. And Jourdain lands that flying fucking knee. He landed that shit. He landed it so flush. Davy Grant went flying backwards, right? He went flying backwards. And I can't remember the last time anyone put Davy Grant away. I'm like, oh shit, he's gonna get knocked out. He's gonna get fucking knocked out. Charles Jourdain immediately jumps on that guillotine. He snagged in a tight guillotine. And then he switched the grip. He started doing like a John Jones versus Lyoto Machida type shit. Where he was almost like cranking upwards. He was cranking upwards with his palm rather than grabbing the blade of his wrist or the blade of his hand. He was cranking upwards. It reminded me of John Jones versus Lyoto Machida. It was fucking crazy. But his elbow wasn't to the sky. He was almost like ninja choking that shit. Did it all in round one. And this was at bantamweight. Charles Jourdain is a former featherweight. Right? He fought some big fucking names. Just real quick. Let's look at the names he fought. He fought Gene Silva last year. He fought the alien, Charles Woodson. Or Sean Woodson. Wow. He fought big names. Damn, this guy's been around fighting a lot of people. Damn. All right, well, Jourdain, you are a new prospect at bantamweight. I forgot how many fights he's had at bantamweight, but he's fairly new to bantamweight. Time for big fights. There's so many good upcomers at bantamweight. Wellmaker. We got Bryce Mitchell. I know he's not an upcomer, but new to the weight division. Bantamweight's popping right now, all right? I know Merab is dominant at the top of the division, but don't let that overshadow the division. We got killer contenders. We got the Brazilian Oliveira. We got so many guys. Wellmaker, Ilia Toporia's brother. Now we got Charles Jourdain. Welcome to bantamweight. What a finish. What a finish. Moving on. We got Manon Fiorot versus Jasmine Jasudavicius. So, Manon won. You know? She turned the man on. She turned that man strength on. You know what I mean? I believe it was a straight right down the middle. Straight right down the pipe. And it landed right on the chin of Jasmine. I was rooting for Jasmine because Fiorot had a horrible, boring fight against Shevchenko her last fight. But Manon Fiorot was pretty good. That was a powerful right hand. And then she followed it up with more lethal strikes. And Jasmine got finished against the cage, I believe. I believe Fiorot followed it up with some ground and pound. Pretty brutal. Brutal finish. Ended in one round. Is this card awesome or what? The women's fight ended in round one. Charles Jourdain versus Davy Grant. Crazy finish. Kyle Nelson versus Matt Frevola. Controversy. Should have been a second round knockout. But the actual winner ends up pulling it off in the end anyway. Which is awesome. I mean, they were scrapping the whole time. I'm going to have to rewatch the knockdown too. That was a brutal knockdown. And then Kyle Prepelic versus Drew Dober. Two guys coming off losses. Put on one of the scrappiest fights I've seen all year. Drew Dober fought without a care in the world. And he was throwing like crazy. I wish I remembered what shot dropped Matt Frevola when he got knocked out. I got to rewatch it. I believe it was a punch. But I got to rewatch it. There was so much going on tonight. So excuse me if I don't remember every single strike that did damage, alright? There was so much going on. This is a good thing. If I have to go back and rewatch this card and rewatch these fights because they were so damn violent and scrappy, that's a good thing. You know, that doesn't happen every day. I mean, I could barely speak during this card. I was oohing and eyeing. I didn't go on live stream because, you know, I just needed to watch as a fan. Not like I don't watch as a fan when I live stream, but I wanted to watch without streaming this one. I'm back to streaming the next card, alright? For the Tom Aspinall card, I'm getting back to the streaming. Alright. Chito Vera versus Ariel Helwani. Now, I did say that Matt Frivola versus Kyle Nelson was the most controversial moment of the night. But this is giving it a run for its money. Chito Vera, one of my favorites. He's not the best fighter in the world, but one of my favorites. He's a fan favorite. He fought Aiemann Zahavi, who no one really cares about, right? Ariel Helwani clone. Chito Vera comes out in round one, and these guys are scrapping. They're both throwing kicks at each other. They're kicking each other's legs left and right. They're punching at range from the outside. Chito's being more active. Aiemann Zahavi's trying to push Chito against the fence. But they're both getting tagged. They're both hurting each other. Body shots, punches to the head. I edged out to Chito. He threw more volume in that round. And his strikes did more damage in that round. I mean, Aiemann Zahavi was getting off to a slow start. And Chito was starting off quicker than normal. So I gave it to Chito. Round two. Round two. Some serious controversy happens. Not controversy, but chaos. I mean, chaos happens. Chito Vera and Aiemann Zahavi are going at it. They're pretty tit for tat. But Chito Vera throws a jab just out of nowhere. I don't know where it came from. He was unorthodox. He threw the jab with the left hand. Oh my God. Aiemann Zahavi didn't see it coming, and he just dropped to the floor. That shot was fast as hell. He dropped Zahavi. And then he starts pushing Zahavi against the fence. Chito's landing body shots. I saw Ariel Helwani wince. I call Aiemann Zahavi Ariel Helwani. I saw Ariel Helwani wince. Chito's landing body shots. And then he was following up with some more punches against the fence. And he was stalking. Even when he wasn't throwing for a second, he was stalking him. Putting pressure on him. Aiemann Zahavi somehow survives the storm. Uses some defense, right? He comes back. He lands a few strikes of his own. And he finished the round a little better than, you know. Look, he finished the round strong considering that he got dropped. And he was getting smacked up against the fence for most of the round, right? So he finished off the round strong. Considering he just got dropped and beat up a minute prior to that. But still, he lost the round. So I'm giving round one to Chito, which is a close round. Chito for sure won round two. He dropped the dude. And then round three. We're still getting a good scrap here. Close round three. Very close round three. But guess what? They start picking it up more like the last 30 seconds, right? They start picking it up more. I thought we were going to get like a little Holloway moment, like point down at the ground. We didn't. But with like 10 seconds left, 15 seconds left, Chito Vera rocks Zahavi. Zahavi did a little stumble. Chito Vera rocked his shit for a second. I'm not saying he was doing the Kevin Lee chicken dance. But man, watch like the last 20 seconds, last 30 seconds of round three. Chito puts a stamp on the fight. He sealed the deal. He wobbled Zahavi in the last exchanges. Zahavi's knees buckled for a second. He recovered. But I saw him buckle for a second. He buckled up like he was speeding on the road and he drove past a police officer. That's how bad his knees buckled. That's how quickly they buckled. But he recovered. Point is, Chito dropped him in round two. Chito and Aiemann Zahavi had a close round one. And I thought Chito put the stamp on round three, like in the last 30 seconds, because it was so close. And then, you know, Chito buckled his knees with the punch. So, yeah. But in the middle of, in between rounds, between round two and three, there was some rivalry going on here. There was some beef going on here. Chito Vera got in Amin Zahabi's face. Like, he looked like the scariest Chito I've ever seen. Smoke was coming out of his ears. Smoke was coming out of his nostrils. He got right in Zahabi's face like he wanted to kill him. Might have been one of the scariest stare downs I've ever seen in the octagon. I swear to God. And that was in between rounds 2 and 3. Watch the fucking look that Chito Vera gave to Amin Zahabi. One of the most fearsome stare downs I've ever seen. That was a cool aura moment. After the fight, they're both like being carried by their coaches. They both got their hands in the air thinking they won. I'm like, Chito won. Judges have been good tonight. The judges played it fair all night. Not the ref, not the Baldy Mergliata, but the judges have been fair all night. But guess what? First robbery of the night, in my opinion. They gave it to Zahabi, the Canadian. Because they probably see a brighter future with him. I don't know. He seems like a company man. You know, UFC loves those boring NPC company men. So, Chito Vera, he's too cool for that shit. So they gave it to Amin Zahabi. First controversial decision of the night. I didn't agree with that shit, you know? But that was a good scrap. I'm loving this card. Good scrap. But at the end of the fight, you know, they both had their hands in the air. They were both being carried by their coaches. And their coaches kind of like carried them to each other. To like look each other in the eye and like say respect, you know? And I think they nodded at each other like, we scrapped. But there was animosity going there. That stare down between rounds was cold. Chito Vera had a little layoff. I want to see Chito Vera back quick. He said he was getting burnt out. I believe him. Oh, another badass moment. But let me first say this. I want Chito Vera to get back in there quick. If his hand is okay. I swear his finger was broken during the fight. He popped it back in. Cool fight. Good fight. Scrappy. The canvas is bloody. The octagon has been painted red by now. Okay? Good card. Now we're at the co-main event. This, in my opinion, was the worst fight of the night. I can't believe I'm saying it. And it's because Kevin Holland. Mike Malott did his thing. Or Mallet. Malott or Mallet. What sounds better? Malott. Mike Malott, he did his thing. He was in his stance. Planting his feet. Landing punches in bunches. He was landing combinations. They were technical. They were crisp. He was laser focused. Kevin Holland, I think he got kicked in the dick. He got hit with a groin shot. Right? I think the first groin shot was legit. Okay? He got hit in the groin. But there was a second one. And the second groin shot did not look like a groin shot. Now this is probably round 1 or end of round 1 or early round 2. I believe it's early round 2. And Kevin Holland, no, it was the end of round 1. Kevin Holland gets hit with another groin shot. But it wasn't. To me, it looked like the knee hit the hip. It looked like the left side of Kevin Holland's hip got kneed against the fence. And this was a crazy card, so maybe I'm off on what round it happened, but it was early in the fight, and it was at the end of the round. I believe it was round 1, but that knee landed on Kevin Holland's hip. Now, maybe the shin hit Kevin Holland in the nuts. Maybe. They didn't show enough replay. But let's give Kevin Holland the benefit of the doubt. Whatever. Kevin Holland took the whole 5 minutes, as he's allowed to. But he comes back into the fight, and he's not even looking at Mike Malott. He said, I'm good. I'm ready to fight now. He took his 5 minutes from a groin shot that I didn't even believe looked like a groin shot. It looked like a knee to the hip. But whatever. Give him the benefit of the doubt. Kevin Holland is not there to win this fight. He's there to look to his left, look to his right. Malott is looking right at him. He's focused. He's zoned in. He just wants to scrap. Kevin Holland's playing games. I can't think of one flush strike that Kevin Holland landed on Malott. Malott was outworking him. He was landing crisp, straight punches. He was landing to the body of Kevin Holland. And not only that, he perfectly timed a takedown threw Kevin Holland down. He just slammed him down, started beating him up on the ground too. Kevin Holland was trying to play guard. He was getting out physicality in there. I mean, Kevin Holland got bullied. He got bullied. But this was the worst fight of the night because Kevin Holland wasn't there to fight. What the fuck was he there to do? He was there for a paycheck. Like, where's the competitive spirit? Yeah, you got hit in the dick. And they should take a point no matter what. I agree. But you gotta fight. Let's fight. Okay, you got hit in the dick. There's nothing you could do about it. You got hit with a nut shot. Let's fight. Try your best. Use that to fuel you. I mean, we saw how Kyle Prepelic, no, not Kyle Prepelic. We saw how Kyle Nelson handled it, right? Man, this card was so fucking crazy. I'm getting lost in the sauce. And there was a lot of fouls in this card. Nelson, right? Nelson, I'm not talking about a groin shot, but we've seen how Kyle Nelson handled adversity, right? Imagine you got a knockout in round 2 and the ref doesn't call it a knockout. He lets the fighter continue. You get robbed of a finish like Kyle Nelson did. He battled through it. Now, maybe Kevin Holland's nuts cracked. Maybe he got hit so hard right there that he couldn't do anything about it. Maybe he felt like he was going to throw up. But to me, it just looked like he wasn't focused. It didn't look like, oh my God, I'm still in so much pain. It didn't look like the SD Dumas fight. You know what I mean? To me, he was still bouncing around. He was still energetic. Okay? But his head wasn't there. It looked like he knew he was going to lose to Mike Mallet. And he already had the perfect excuse. There was no focus in Kevin Holland's eyes. He was not there in that octagon. He might have been standing in that octagon, but he wasn't there. He was somewhere else. I don't know if he was daydreaming about hanging out in Texas. I don't know if he was daydreaming about his exes. I have no idea if he was daydreaming about Alexis. I don't know. But shit. Too much looking to the right, looking to the left, looking at the ref. Playing around. Mike Mallet was game. He was focused. He had laser eyes on Kevin Holland. Mike Mallet did his thing, but guess what? It takes two to tango. And since Kevin Holland didn't want to fight, that was a shit fight. It kind of ruined the card because it didn't. Oh, sorry. It did not ruin the card. Did not ruin the card. But it was just weird. As we moved up the card, the fights got a little more tamer. Which happens. It happens. But great card so far, you know? It is what it is. I was just mad by the whole groin strike shit. And then on top of that, when Kevin Holland finally got back in the fight, he couldn't focus. Like, dude, this guy just kicked you in the nuts. Go beat his ass. Pretend Mike Mallet is Rampage Jackson. Pretend Mike Mallet said, I don't know what a 45-70 is. That's what Kevin Holland's coaches should have told him. Who are Holland's coaches? Seriously. If I was in Holland's corner, I'd be like, bro, Mallet lives in Canada, and he's not allowed to have a 45-70. He doesn't know what a 45-70 is. Kevin Holland would go out there and beat his ass, you know? Or I would tell Kevin Holland, hey, Mike Mallet, that's actually Rampage Jackson in disguise. Kevin Holland would go out there swinging. But no. No motivation from Kevin Holland whatsoever. Clearly just there for a paycheck. Moving on. Are you guys fucking serious? I think the whole MMA community got this prediction wrong. Don't lie now. It's okay. Just own up and man up to it. There's nothing wrong with getting a pick wrong. As long as in the aftermath, you admit it and then we talk about the winner. Let's talk about it. Brendan Allen beat the fuck out of Reinier de Ridder. He beat the fuck out of him. He beat him up where Reinier de Ridder is supposedly the best at. He beat him up where Reinier de Ridder brags about. Oh, I'm the best in jiu-jitsu in the middleweight division. All I do is jujitsu. I do judo. I train with Russians, Dagestan guys. I'm the Dutch kickboxer. Former 2-time champion. Former 2-weight champion or whatever in a different organization. Really? I didn't see any striking from Reinier de Ridder. The whole fight was a ground fight. The whole fight was on the fucking ground. And the only round Reinier de Ridder... He's got a new nickname now, by the way. We'll get into that in a second. Reinier de Quitter, okay? Reinier de Quitter. I had to say it. I couldn't wait. I couldn't hold it. But Reinier de Quitter, he does great in round one. But he's not looking for ground and pound. He gets a takedown on Brendan Allen from a body lock. Holds him down. He almost gets a arm triangle choke. Almost. But, you know, Brendan Allen survived. RDR had his back for a majority of the round. Great job by Brendan Allen by pushing down on the forearms and having control of the wrist to defend that rear naked choke. I mean, if you want to learn how to defend rear naked chokes, ask Brendan Allen. You got to give it to him. This guy is really good at defending rear naked chokes. He's really good at pushing down on the forearm with two hands. After round two, Brendan Allen beat the fuck out of him in round two. He beat the fuck out of him in round three. What round did this fight go to? It went to round 4, right? They called it right before round 5. I mean, Brendan Allen is now taking down Reinier de Ridder. He literally has Reinier de Ridder on his shoulder. He's carrying him like a baby. He picked up Reinier de Ridder like Merab did to Henry Cejudo. I'm not fucking joking. I'm not fucking joking. And when Brendan Allen had top position, he wasn't laying on him like Reinier de Ridder was doing to Brendan Allen. He was landing ground and pound. He was landing elbows from guard. And then he passed guard. He got top half guard. Landing elbows postured up. Then he would take the back. Then he would just stand up while Reinier de Ridder is on his back and he'd be postured up. Landing heavy punches. It looked like Khabib versus McGregor round 2. Brendan Allen got really good on the ground, way better than before. I mean, Imavov was stuffing his takedowns like nothing, really. Brendan Allen leveled up. And this is a fight that was just perfect for Brendan Allen. He's on a real good hot streak. I mean, the Marvin Vettori fight was good. But this was next level. I'm not even talking just entertainment-wise. I'm just talking as far as dominance and beating up like a top prospect like Reinier de Ridder. Reinier de Ridder's had a hell of a year. He won 3 fights this year. Right? I think he beat up GM3 last year. Then he beat up Bo Nickel. He beat up Kevin Holland before that. He beat Whitaker. How bad is the middleweight division? How bad is the middleweight division? I know styles make fights. But Brendan Allen, after round 1, mollywopped RDR. I'm telling you, doesn't matter. Brendan Allen was on top the whole fight. And the whole fight took place on the ground after round 1. Brendan Allen was landing elbows from in guard. He was getting mounts. He was getting pins. Back takes. But I mostly paid attention to the ground and pound because he busted up Reinier de Ridder's face so bad, RDR's whole face was leaking. Like he had blood like just dripping down. And everyone knew after round 3, Reinier de Ridder was done. We knew it. He was laying on his back like a house cat. He was stuck on the ground. He wouldn't get up after the round. I'm like, you just went 5 rounds with Whitaker. Now you can't get up after round 3 against Brendan Allen. Because Brendan Allen was giving Reinier de Ridder a taste of his own medicine. He was beating him up where Reinier de Ridder is good at. Reinier de Ridder was playing way too much guard. Like, I love jiu-jitsu and it works in fights sometimes, but Reinier de Ridder was treating this like this was a gi jiu-jitsu match. And he gassed himself out trying to play guard. So I do know Reinier de Ridder is not a guard player. He knows some moves, But if he was really a guard player, he wouldn't be that exhausted and fatigued from playing guard if jiu-jitsu is really his bread and butter. He's just a top control guy, which is fine. But the whole reason everyone was saying, oh, he'd be such a tough fight for Hamza is because they think Reinier de Ridder has a guard game. They think Reinier de Ridder can just, pull arm bars out of nowhere like Gilbert Burns versus Hamza. No, he can't. He can't pull an arm bar out of thin air. He's not going to lock up a triangle. He's just trying to get top position and get an arm triangle or get your back with the rear naked. Brendan Allen, he got it. This is his most impressive victory of his career. That's fucking hilarious. How bad is the middleweight division? No one's going to beat Hamza, No one's going to beat Hamza. UFC really was investing in RDR. His picture was everywhere. He's already on the thumbnail for the post-fight press conference. Before the fight even happened. Reinier de Ridder is on the thumbnail for the UFC post-fight press conference. Crazy. That shit's crazy. No one's going to beat Hamza. The middleweight division is kind of fucked right now. But we're not talking about middleweight division right now. Brendan Allen smoked RDR. Number one prospect is now eliminated from middleweight. And that's the truth. The number one prospect's gone. So this was a banging card. Banger card. I loved every minute of this fight card. I will admit though, the co-main event and the main event were not nearly as good as the featured fight, as good as the Charles Dervain fight. They weren't as good as the Kyle Nelson fight, the Kyle Prepelic Drew Dober fight. I would say the prelims, and how many fights were on this main card? The prelims in the first 4 fights on the main card were better than the main event and co-main event. Good card though. I mean, I'm not taking away from this card. It was scrappy as hell. It's just sometimes, when you have good prelims and the first 3 to 4 fights are good on the main card, we end up with the timid, tame co-main event. And sometimes we end up with a somewhat lackluster main event. UFC 319, perfect example. You could compare this to UFC 319. Great fight night card, especially for Canada. Shout out Brendan Allen for having the most dominant win of the night against the highest level of competition in the main event. Shout out Brendan Allen. Kevin Holland, what a stinker of a fight, bro. What a stinker of a fight. Mike Mallet beat you up. He out-wrestled you. He outstruck you. Chito Vera got robbed against Ariel Helwani. Great fight, though. That was the last amazing fight on this card. Co-main event, main event, they're okay. I didn't fall asleep. They were all right. They were good enough to keep me awake, all right? Shout out Chito Vera. He truly won that fight. Ayman Zahabi tried, though, but they gave him the win, He had that Canadian privilege. Thank God Manon Farrow ended that fight quick. I just wanted to see a first round finish. Yep. And Charles Jourdain, performance of the night. New bantamweight prospect. That was entertaining as hell. Those flying knees with that nasty guillotine. And yeah, Kyle Nelson, he truly went through the most adversity tonight. Kyle Nelson. Man, no one had to go through what he went through tonight. He really got robbed by the ref. Not the judges, but he got screwed over by the ref. And before this video ends, and Kyle Prepelic versus Drew Dober. Shout out to them. That fight was a banger. That was a classic. But before I end this fight, I also gotta I gotta say one more time. Reinier de Ridder could not get up off the stool after round 4. That's how the fight ended. That's how the fight ended. Reinier de Quitter. He couldn't get off the stool. I just had to say that. He couldn't get off the stool. Like, what the fuck? Bro, do you cut way too much weight or what? He literally quit on the stool. He didn't get stopped during the fight. He didn't get stopped because of a cut. None of that. He was sitting on the stool and couldn't stand up. Brendan Allen literally gassed him out to the point of so much fatigue where he couldn't continue. I don't even know if Merab's done that to anybody. Has Merab ever made anyone say, I can't get up off the stool, I'm so exhausted? No! Not even the cardio machine Merab's done that. But Brendan Allen exhausted Reinier de Ridder so bad. Reinier de Ridder, after round 3, was a house cat, laying on his back. And then after round 4, he could not stand up off the stool. He literally said, I didn't hear him. My audio was kind of muted on the TV. I don't really listen to DC and those commentators too much. I was listening to a different commentary team tonight. If you know, you know. But yeah, I don't know what Reinier de Ridder said, but I'm sure it was, I can't stand up. I'm done. I'm fatigued. So Brendan Allen beat Reinier de Ridder. Good fight card. Shout out to everyone on the fight card. It was a good Canadian fight card. What can I say? They all fought. They all did their thing. Looking forward to Tom Aspinall next weekend. And I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.